Welcome back, adult ESL students, to our Confusing Words in English series. Today is Lesson 4. In last week's lesson, Lesson 3, we learned about two pairs of words, except with an E and except with an A. We also learned about stationary with an E and stationary with an A. We also reviewed two very important words that I will always talk about in all of my lessons: homophones and context. So today we are only going to talk about one pair of words. Why are we only doing one pair of words today? It is because we are going to discuss the difference between capital with an A and capital with an O. And this pair of words is considered in the top 13% of the most difficult pair of words to learn. The word capital with an A has many different meanings in context, while capital with an O only has one or two things. So the lesson will be a little longer, as if I am doing two pairs of words. So it is important to really pay attention to this lesson if you are really working hard on learning your vocabulary. So let's go ahead and begin Lesson 4 today. So here we have capital with an A and capital with an O. First, we are going to talk about capital with an A as an adjective. Number 1 says uppercase letters, or capital letters like this right here, as you see. Large ABC and then small ABC. The large ABC are capital letters. Number 2 discusses capital as something serious. 2A says punishable by death. Well, now why would you get punished by death? Well, if you commit a capital crime, a serious crime like murder or selling drugs in some countries, you could be punished by your death. Letter B, involving execution. So if you commit a capital crime, you will receive a capital punishment, something that will involve killing you. Some places they hang you or shoot you, inject poison into you, like in the United States we call that lethal injection. Or they put a sponge on your head and metal here and here, and you get electrocuted until you are dead. Letter C says most serious, a capital error, or a very serious mistake. Number 3A, chief in importance or influence, such as capital ships. And a writer, T.S. Eliot, says the capital importance of criticism in the work of creation itself. In other words, you should be critical of your own creative work so that you make something that is good. Letter B in number 3, being the seat of government. London is the capital of England. So the government, the main government, makes decisions in that city. That's where most of that work is done. Number 4, of or relating to capital, especially relating to or being assets that add to the long-term net worth of a corporation. Capital improvements. So that means that relating to things that are worth money, stock, materials in a company, different things that make the corporation or company worth a lot of money overall or more money. Number 5 says excellent, such as a capital book, an excellent book. The Lord of the Rings is a capital book. I enjoyed reading it. Now, as I have mentioned in every one of my lessons, and I'm going to keep talking about it because in the United States, if you come here, it is very important that you understand this. Because if you go to college, you will have to take writing courses that will involve resources like this. So what that means is you have to avoid plagiarism. That means if you use something from something that is not yours and you use the same words, or if you use something from a source in your own words but contains the material from that source, you must give credit to it somewhere. And that's what I did here. I went to the Merriam-Webster dictionary online, which is an American dictionary because I am teaching you American English words. So I have to give credit to it because I used their words for the definitions. Obviously, I cannot remember everything from the dictionary, right? And so here are the sentences from those definitions up above. Number 1, number 1. When spelling the word Boston, like as you see lowercase, right? Is it a mistake? It says don't make that mistake. Make sure you use a capital B or big B, like in the other example where it is corrected. Because Boston is a proper noun or a very important noun. 2A. In some countries, selling drugs is a capital crime or is a serious crime in which you can be punished by death. 2B. Today, a serial killer will receive his capital punishment by lethal injection, putting the needle into the arm, in the vein, and putting poison in there until they die. For killing 30 young women in a 1-year period. That is a lot of people. And that is why it is a serial killer, a person that kills many people. Letter C. When you challenged the boss in front of everyone, you made a capital mistake or serious error. So think about this example. Maybe someone is at a party and all of the workers are there, including the boss. And you embarrass the boss and call the boss stupid in front of everybody, including the boss. That is a serious mistake. In other words, you probably will be looking for another job very soon. Letter number 3A. When writing a paragraph, it is a capital importance to indent the first line. So when you are writing a paragraph of words, lines of words, that first line, you hit tab, which also means 5 times on the space bar. And the reason you must do that in America, it is because the way we write here. It is an academic rule for a regular type of letter. In a business letter, you do not do that. Letter B on 3. Jefferson City is the capital city of Missouri. That is true. I live in Missouri, and that means that the state government. It is different than London, England. London, England is the government for the whole country. We have the state government and then the government over everything, the federal government. So the state government in Missouri is run in Jefferson City, the capital. Number 5, your initiative to install filters into the air duct system was a capital idea or excellent idea. In other words, your initiative, initiative means you did something that you just thought was important and you did it on your own and it was a good thing to do. And filters are obviously something that cleans the air. So, you have maybe vents in your ceiling or the floor where the hot or the cold air comes out, and the filters keep the dust from coming through those vents, and so you don't have to breathe in that dust when the air blows. That's a good thing. Now we need to talk about capital, spelled with an A, used as a noun. And as you see, there are very many context meanings here as well. So let's go ahead and discuss that. After I fix my computer is acting goofy today. I don't know why, but that's okay. We can fix that. So, number 2 is not supposed to be here. The word program does automatic numbers, so I will read it as if it is just 1. So number 1, A1. Now these are a little more difficult meanings because they involve finances, but I will explain it as clearly as I can, so please pay close attention. A stock of accumulated goods, especially at a specified time, and in contrast to income received during a specified period. Also, the value of these accumulated goods. So that means you have an amount, a stock of goods that you have been keeping or you have accumulated or have received or have gone to get in some way. And you know that when you get them at a specific time, that it affects how much money it is worth in some way. That's what it means in contrast or in difference to something. Received during a specific period, a certain time. So let's go to the sentences right away because these are a little more difficult. It is much better if I read the sentence to you and compare that to you for you right away so that you do not get confused or forget. So if we come here to the sentence, when he bought the lumber for the house in the off-season during winter, it only cost $1,300. But had he bought the lumber during the peak season, it would have cost $3,900, tripling or 3 times the amount of capital needed for his materials, saving $2,600 altogether. So, when we talk about the definition, that means he bought lumber at a very important time, specified time, when it was cheaper to buy the wood to build the house. Because he did that, he was able to, make a difference in the money. He saved $2,600 when if he bought it in the summer, it would cost 3 times that amount, 3 times $1,300. So he saved a lot of money. He was very smart. Okay. 1A2. Not the bold one. That's, like I said, that's a mistake. This one. Accumulated goods devoted to the production of other goods. So In this case, that can mean money or other things that are worth money. So, number 1A2 says, after putting his initial retirement of $100,000 in the bank for just 1 year at a high percentage, Gina accumulated, or received, in this case that means received, a capital gain of $5,000 in interest, a monetary gain of worth money. So that means when you put something in the bank in the United States will do you a favor because you are letting them hold your money, or you are putting your money in their bank. They pay you a percentage every month according to what you have in your savings account. So because Gina put in $100,000, after 1 year receiving money every month, she was able to make $5,000 just for leaving her money in the bank. That is good. Number 1A3, accumulate possessions calculated to bring in income. Set capital and land and labor to work. G.B. Shaw has said that, which will make a little more sense in a minute. So that means you have things, possessions, things that are yours that you have acquired that you think are going to bring in more money to you. So if we go to number 3, our real estate agent told us that since we added a guest house to our property, the value of our entire property has gone up by $20,000 in excess capital. So what happened here was these people have a possession, a piece of land and a house. But they were very smart. They thought, I need to build a smaller house on my property. And because they did that, now their entire property, their land, their house, with the guest house, the entire property is now worth $20,000 more than before. That is pretty good. So they accumulated a possession. They, got a possession. They built it. And they knew they would make money by doing that. Number 1B1, net worth, excess of assets over liabilities. So in other words, your total worth in money, in a dollar amount, and excess, a lot of positives or financial pluses over liabilities or what you must pay. So if you go here to 1B1 sentence, John found out that the value of his travel agency was $500,000. Those were his assets, positive money gain because his company is worth that much money. While his liability costs, or what he has to pay, were $100,000, giving his company the excess capital they need to operate every year. So every year he pays $100,000 in expenses. That is what it costs to run his company. Everything else is profit. He is making more money than he is spending. That is good. Number 1B2 means simply stock, which involves an investment into stock, going in and getting more worth in the stock market. So number 1B2 says, Johnson & Johnson, which is a famous company in America, they make different products, showed an average gain of $1,000 in capital over the last 2 years for every stockholder. In other words, Johnson & Johnson was selling so many products that people who invested in stock in their company made an average of $1,000 every year. That's not bad. That's decent. Now, number 1C, persons holding capital. In other words, people holding something that is worth money. Stocks, property, money. Letter, C for number 1. Peter has significant capital invested into Nike stock, worth over $20,000. In other words, he has a lot of money invested in Nike, but now the stock is worth $20,000. So he didn't put in $20,000, he put in less than $20,000. So he has done a good job investing in Nike. He was very smart to invest in that company. Okay, 1D. Advantage, gain, make capital of the situation. Take advantage of a situation. Okay? 1D. If my brother can get trained as a truck driver, he will be able to use the capital of traveling throughout the United States while working. So all that means is the advantage of his brother being trained as a truck driver means he gets to see the United States all over, places he has not seen. That is considered an advantage he is going to use. Letter E. 1E. A store of useful assets or advantages. Wasted their political capital on an unpopular cause. I wrote a sentence for that meaning. Wrote from the capital of his emotionally desolate boyhood. Another thing a famous writer or person has quoted. So I am going to talk about the political one because I think it is easier to understand. 1E. Senator McBain donated $200,000 in capital or money to build an abortion clinic in a conservative neighborhood, causing local public upheaval. So what that means is Senator McBain invested money into an unpopular political cause. In the United States, killing babies is a serious topic, politically and personally. So he made the mistake of investing his money in a place where people don't want an abortion clinic because of their beliefs, politically and personally. And that's what conservative means. So everybody in that neighborhood got very angry and, probably are trying to get rid of that. Okay, so now this is actually supposed to be number 2, and this is supposed to be 3. So number 2A, an uppercase letter such as A, B, and C. So now it is the same as the adjective, except it's going to be used as a noun now. So if you come here, it says 2A, when using the name of a state in your text or, typing, make sure you use a capital. So if you talk about your state, like if I mentioned the state of Missouri, Missouri is a proper noun. I must use a capital or a capital letter, right? And as you see, capital is used as a noun. It is not descriptive. 2B, which, like I said, once again, that should be a 2. A letter belonging to a style of alphabet modeled on the style customarily used in inscriptions. In other words, on trophies, on stones, an inscription is something that is kind of dug into and in a particular letter style so that it is more permanent. So, for instance, if you notice on the trophy, the capital Roman letter L, that's kind of a symbol-like letter in Roman letters, is located in the center of the base, denoting or pointing out the 50-year history. How about that? There's my AVG internet security system. The Roman letter L is located in the center of the base, denoting the 50-year history of the organization. So they're saying that the inscription of the capital letter L is very important in that meaning, and it is used as an inscription. It is marked permanently into the metal in an inscription format. Number 4A, a city serving as a seat of government. Same as before, like London is the capital city of England. It is done as a noun in this sentence, though. So I had to change the sentence style. Norway has a very rich Viking history, especially in Oslo, the capital. 4B, a city preeminent in some special activity. In other words, there is a city that is very famous for something. So, in other words, you can say someplace, a certain city is called the fashion capital. Well, I used to live in Daegu, South Korea, when I taught English. And Daegu was famous for apples. So sometimes in Daegu, it is known as the Apple City Capital. They had very big apples, very tasty, all throughout Korea. Okay, so that is the end, just then, that is the end of capital with an A. Now, we only have a few minutes for just capital with an O. Very easy to explain, not as long and lengthy. So let's do this and finish our lesson today. So capital with an O is used as a noun. So here are two different contextual meanings that we will focus on. 1A means a building in which a state legislative body meets, the dome of the state capitol, as an example. So, for example, I mentioned Jefferson City. Actually, Jefferson City does have a round dome as their capitol building. That's actually a very good coincidence. Letter B says a group of buildings in which the functions of state government are carried out. So it's not just a building, it's more than one building. Number 2. Now this is very specific, different than the normal type of spelling. So if you use a capital letter for capital with an O, that has a very specific meaning. So it says the building in which the U.S. Congress meets in Washington. So when they talk about the president and they say the president is at the Capitol today addressing Congress, that is when you use a capital letter, because it is definitely a proper noun, because it refers to a specific place that is where the presidency exists along with the Congress. So it is a very important thing to pay attention to. And of course, I gave credit because I used Merriam-Webster again. So here are my sentences. 1A. Today in Jefferson City, at the dome of the state capitol, State officials will discuss new legislation. In other words, they're going to discuss new rules for the state that maybe need to be addressed. Maybe about building more roads because maybe the roads are bad. Letter B. At the state capitol in Texas, lawmakers will discuss disbursement of funds to improve state roads and highways. In other words, in Texas, at their capital, people that are making the laws there will discuss giving money to help make the roads and highways better so they are safe. And finally, number 2, which focuses on capital with a capital letter, the President addressed Congress at the Capitol today to gain support for approval of a new immigration law. That has been a hot topic here in the United States. President Trump is trying to get his immigration law in effect. So he sometimes goes to Congress to gain support for his ideas, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. Because, well, people are too busy arguing about it and not much gets done. Not unusual, you'll find. Anyway, so that is what those 2 words mean separately. Now you understand why I did not do 2 pairs of words today. So let's review. So today we learned about only 1 pair of words, capital with an A and capital with an O. We reviewed the importance of giving credit when using sources, and I reminded you about last week's lesson, except with an E and except with an A, stationary with an A, and stationary with an E. As always, should you be interested in seeing any of these videos, plus now I am developing a series on American culture, and I have created a video recently about proper slang use in American culture, which you might find interesting if you do not understand the cultural rules on using slang in America. If you wish to see any of these videos, you can join us at our Facebook page, and we would love it if you visited us there. Or we have a Twitter page, and we would love you to follow us. And of course, the easiest way is to see these videos on our YouTube channel. And we would definitely love to have you as a subscriber. If you have enjoyed this series, please stay tuned next week for Lesson 5 in our continuing Confusing Words in English series. So for now, goodbye from Missouri, and I hope you have a great week ahead.